Hi guys, welcome to The Bite. My name is Jackie. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a Lent-friendly cake called Sfouf. This is a Lebanese cake that is golden, a beautiful golden color from some turmeric, and it's flavored with anise or anise. I say anise, but it's really simple to make. There's no dairy whatsoever, no eggs involved, and it comes together with simple pantry ingredients that you might have. What I love about it is the texture, which comes from using regular all-purpose flour and some fine semolina. It gives it a really nice, soft, and a lot of good moisture in the cake, which I love. The word sfouf in Arabic actually means rose, which this cake is cut into rows, just like a regular sheet cake. So yeah, let's get into it. First thing I'm gonna do is mix together my dry ingredients. So in this bowl, I have some all-purpose flour, some fine semolina, in Arabic we call it smeed, and then just some regular granulated sugar. It's equal amounts of all of these, a cup and a half of each. All the ingredients, like usual, now I have started putting all my ingredient list in the description box below so you can find it there and follow along with this video. Normally, I don't like this much sugar in my cakes or my sweets in general, but as I was testing this recipe, I just found that it kind of needed that much sweetness. I don't know if it's because of the way the combination of the flour and the semolina kind of soak everything up, but 1.5 cups worked out perfectly for my taste. Whenever I used less, I ended up putting some simple syrup over the top of it, just like I would for harissa, which is a recipe that I'll be sharing with you here soon. But it changed the texture of the cake. So I think adding 1.5 cups of sugar works beautifully. Now that that's all mixed in, I'm going to add some turmeric powder, some ground anise, and salt and baking powder. Baking powder. Please don't use baking soda. You wanna know what happens when you use baking soda? You wanna know what happens? Your whole cake goes from yellow to red, and I'm talking red. Okay, I made this cake, tested it a couple times. When I put in baking soda, it came out of the oven. I'm like, what did I put in this thing that made it red? Does my turmeric have like some food coloring in there that I don't know? No, the baking soda reacts with the turmeric, oddly enough, and changes the whole color of the cake. And yeah, it's like a magic trick that happens in the oven. So unless you want like a red velvet cake that's not really a red velvet cake, use baking powder. All right, so that is all mixed in. Not everybody adds anise, ground anise in here, but I just really love the taste of it. And I like to use I like to grind it up myself just so that the flavor is more potent. So now I'm just going to add some water and some vegetable oil. You can use canola oil, you can use sunflower oil, any flavorless oil. Well, I suppose you could use olive oil. I never have, but I'm sure it would be fine. And a little bit of vanilla, or vanilla, as my daughter calls it, vanilla. I'm just gonna give that all a good mix and then add it into a 9x13 baking dish. So everything is mixed in beautifully. You can see that it's a golden yellow color, and as it falls, it kind of leaves ribbons behind, and that is exactly what you want. I have a 9x13 baking dish that I'm just going to lightly grease with some vegetable oil. And I'm gonna use my paper towel to kind of spread it and soak up any excess. I use vegetable oil. A lot of people use tahini. My daughter's allergic to sesame, so I won't be doing that because she really likes this cake. But you can feel free to do that. It does kind of change the flavor to like give it a little nuttiness, which I like, but vegetable oil is a really great alternative. Okay, so that I don't stain my white shirt, I'm just gonna do like that and then pour it all right on in to my 9x13. And I'm just gonna get all this out. Looking good. So now you can either top these with toasted pine nuts or almonds. I actually have some slivered almonds that look like this. You can buy these at any conventional grocery store or an Arabic store. And you can either make a little design on each one. Just be mindful of how you're going to cut it and how many pieces you're gonna cut it. You can also either just sprinkle it sporadically throughout the whole cake. I'm going to place them kind of a little bit more deliberately in the place of where I'll be cutting them. So that each piece gets a nice little chunk of some slivered almonds, like so. And that way it kind of acts as a guide for when I'm cutting it. All right, looking good. So this is gonna go into an oven at 350 degrees for between 30 and 40 minutes, depending on your oven. Usually a good sweet spot is 35 minutes, but just use a toothpick to check the center to make sure that it's fully cooked through. And I'll see you when it's done. So the cake is out of the oven. I did let it cool for just a little bit, but look at how beautiful that looks. This is obviously where I tested it, but I'm gonna cut into it because, well, first I gotta make the sfouf on my sfouf. You know what I mean? The sfouf. All right, so based on how I have my almonds cut up, or set up, I have about 15 pieces on the cake. And it cuts really beautifully. It's nice and soft. And the top part kind of has a very slight crunchy texture, almost like the top of a brownie, you know, that like crusty top. So I really like that. And this also, because there's no dairy in it or no eggs, it lasts for a long time. So you just want to keep it in Tupperwares, like in a nice sealed Tupperware, and it keeps it very nice and moist. I know people hate that word, but I mean, how else are you gonna describe, anyways? So let me get this baby out, and you can see the center of it, and you can kind of like tell how it's going to taste texture-wise just by looking at it. It's got a nice fluffy, yet again, moist texture. But the semolina really does absorb all that liquid and the oil really, really well. So it kind of just lends a beautiful texture. And the anise in here is absolutely perfect. That little bit goes a long way. Believe it or not, that 1.5 cups of sugar doesn't make this too sweet, but spot on. Absolutely delicious. That little crunch from the almonds is gonna hit the spot. So delicious and so easy. Minimal ingredients, that is my kind of dessert. You know what I mean? This will last in the freezer. You can take it out piece by, if you cut it and take it out, you can, you know, warm it up in the microwave and have a little nice treat with some tea in the morning or at night. And it's delicious. So I hope you give it a try, especially for Lent if you're fasting like me. Happy Easter to those of you celebrating this weekend. And if you are Orthodox like myself, we have a little bit of ways to go. So I hope you can enjoy something like this cake during the Lent season. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to send me your pictures of your recreations on Instagram, and we'll see you next time on The Bite.